Hey everyone, I want to share with you 8 amazing things I found in this book. For many of you, it will be some brand new things you've never thought of. That'll be huge for you creatively. And for some of you, there's going to be some confirmations of thoughts you've had. I've had both of those experiences with this book. A lot of this made me feel not crazy for things that I've strongly committed to and strongly believed in for years and years. And then a lot of this book was really fresh and helpful to me. So this is 8 tips for creativity from The Practice by Seth Godin. This book is all about how people making art can ship that art. All that means is, how do you get it into people's hands? How do you take the thing that you've worked so hard on and the thing that you love doing and get it to other people? So let's dive in. Point 1. It actually comes before the book even starts. It's right here on page 3. The magic of the creative process is that there is no magic. Creativity is not magic. It is not a bolt of lightning that's going to come down from heaven and strike you. That is simply not true. Creativity is not an event. It is something we do day in and day out. And because of that, there are results. We do it whether we want to or if we're in the mood to do it. We do it consistently, day after day, and things eventually happen. So whatever it is you do, whatever the thing is that you make, just make it. Some of the most talented people I know, from my career to all of the artistic things that I dabble in, they never finish anything. They never get anything done because they're waiting on something to happen. So my encouragement right now, right off the top, is don't do that. Just wake up every day and make things, because that's how things get made. Number 2, art is for other people. Right here on page 9. I love this paragraph. Let's call it art, the human act of doing something that might not work, something generous, something that will make a difference. The emotional act of doing personal, self-directed work to make a change that we can be proud of. It has to be for other people. Of course, we make our art because it's in us, it's personal, it's for ourselves first. But we make sure that what we're making is in touch. We make sure that it's something that's helpful, something that could inspire other people. We make sure that it reaches out beyond us, our selfish self, and is actually useful to someone else. Number 3, art might not work. He says, not painting, but art. The act of doing something that might not work. Painting is something you do to a house. Art is the work we do where there is no right answer, and yet the journey is worth the effort. I absolutely love this. Painting is something you do to a house. How many painters out there, I'm not a painter, but how many of you have just painted? Like, you were just painting and it meant nothing and it was dead. I've definitely done that with my creative pursuits. I've just gone and taken hundreds, if not thousands, of photos, and they weren't good. I didn't have purpose. I've written for hours and days, years, and deleted stuff because it really wasn't me. It really wasn't real. I was painting a house. But the real art is when we're painting not knowing if it's gonna work. I love the way he puts that. This is really important because we've all had an entire lifetime of being brainwashed, saying success is a measurable thing. It's a metric of some type of output in a certain way. And that's absolutely not true. The process of creating is often the most valuable part, because art doesn't work most of the time, but it's in that time that we get to the things that really do work and really have impact. So don't be discouraged when it's not going well. That's the process, and you got to learn to love that. Number 4 is you just have to do it. He says, we've been fooled into believing that roles like writer, leader, or artist are birthrights, things that are fixed in place, something we either are or aren't. The leaders are given talents or privileges, not choices. I love this. If you want to be a leader, lead. If you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be a photographer, take pictures. If you want to be a painter, buy a canvas and some paint and start painting. No one is born having the technical abilities to do any type of artistic endeavor. It comes from when we really want something, we dig into it, and the process of figuring it out, that is art. Number 5, try something for the first time. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Nostalgia for a future that hasn't happened yet is a modern affliction. We spend our days imagining that tomorrow might not be what we're hoping for, filled with regret about what might have been. We see what's possible. We know that we have a chance to make things better, and yet we hesitate. I love this because I have done this my entire career. I have tried to do things for the first time. I remember my first photographs. I remember not knowing how a camera worked. And I remember what that did for me and how much revelation that gave me for my creations in the guitar industry. I was the person needing help for the first time in a long time. I have felt this with writing. I have gathered people around me that are teaching me how to write. I have to learn. I have to be lower than the expert. And that is the healthiest thing for an artist. So no matter what you do, you need to be learning to do other things. And there's a whole other lesson in that that's not in this book. And that lesson is every other thing we learn pours into the other things we do. You don't get innovation while only focusing on the thing you're working on. You get innovation and amazing art when you pull in from other areas of your world. Number 6, you can't please the masses. I resonated so much with this because of some things I had gone through in my career. This was one of those moments of validation, and the way he puts it, I've never heard it put any better. He says, being hated by many and loved by a few is a sign that the work is idiosyncratic. It's worth seeking out and it's worth talking about. Our desire to please the masses interferes with our need to make something that matters. The masses want mass entertainment, normal experiences, and the pleasure of easy group dynamics. The masses want what the masses want. We already have plenty of that stuff that pleases the masses. You can't please the masses if you want to change things. So, make stuff that ruffles a few people's feathers. It's fun. Number 7 is similar to 6, but it's a little deeper and more nuanced. Check this out. Someone, not everyone. He says this, amazing illustration. How is it possible that 3 cowboys can herd 1,000 cattle? Easy, they don't. They herd 10 cattle, and those cattle influence 50 cattle, and those cattle influence more cattle, and so on. That's the way every single widespread movement, product, service, or work of art has changed the world. And so we ignore all the others. We ignore the masses and the selfish critics and those in love with the status quo. We find 10 people who care about our work. We are so fascinated with more followers, more likes, more sales, more attention. But at the end of the day, that's just width. You can go look at Instagram accounts that have 20 million followers, so much width, but they're not making any impact. And then you can find on that same platform someone with 2,000 followers, but it's deep because those 2,000 people really resonate, they really agree, and they're really joined in with that artist. It's an amazing thing to see, and I'm sure you've all seen that. The width and the size of what you do doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If you have depth, if you have people along for the ride, people that believe in your art, that's where change happens. The last point, number 8, is sandpaper is easy. This is a phenomenal statement that I love it. I'm going to quote this forever because it's so valuable. On page 193, he says, "It's easy to get a committee together to criticize a new logo that your agency put together. It's almost impossible to find someone willing to make the logo itself." That's so true. Then he goes on, "We're a community of critics and tweakers and tinkerers. The reason is simple. It's safer to be that way. People rarely criticize the critic. And beyond that, it's not hard to use sandpaper, but it's a lot harder to use the saw or the pencil to draw the plans in the first place. So all the critics that you have, all the people that know better ways to do it, better ways to write, better way to make a YouTube show, better ways to design a circuit, better ways to take a photograph or make a painting. Yeah, so what? They're not doing anything. They're just criticizing. It's very easy to use sandpaper, but it's incredibly hard to draw up the plans and have the guts to do something. So for a lot of you, that's an encouragement. I think this book is awesome. If you want to read the whole thing, there's a link in the description below to go grab this. Seth Godin is one of my absolute favorite brains in the world of creativity and marketing. As someone who's a business person and a creative person, that's really hard to find honest, intelligent thoughts, philosophy, and information on. And Seth Godin is one of my all-time favorites. So go check out The Practice if you want to get better at making work and getting it into people's hands. Hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon for future notifications, and have a great day. Bye.